We are going to get right to this proper. Now, Dan Ives joins us from WB Bush, right here everywhere in the media, of course, as we move into the magazine 8 Frenzy. Warren Buffett, he is a part of the Mag 8 proper. Now 65 buys on Nvidia, 8 holds no sells. You don't comply with Nvidia, you have got a thug at W Bush that, yeah, follows it. Proper. Yeah. So our view in Nvidia, we've 138, charge tart, bull case is 175, Burstein went to 150 this morning, and that I think this is only a begin. I imply, look, I assume this with the aid of the stop of the day, or maybe in the subsequent 24 hours. This is an inventory that need to be within the green, primarily based on the whole thing we noticed from Godfather of AI, Gen Zen, Video PA, get one extra in right here on Will. So Dan, deliver us a experience. What did you listen from Nvidia last night? Time they beat numbers, maybe the steerage wasn't where the street become watching for. However, what did you clearly eliminate from Nvidia last night? So 3 things. One call for, because the question is there double ordering? What's corporation call for demands actually accelerating? And there's no higher perch in terms of the whole thing. We are seeing from AI than what Jensen sees to Blackwell. All the fears proper. The worries is that G delayed how they essentially put those fears to relaxation, and that becomes so essential. You already know, I am the simplest one, which does math assessment. Not all this fancy Dan eyes talk. You're taking the 10 billion percentage BC of Apple. They've been doing it for years, divided by using unfastened coins. Drift. You take a 50 billion statistic, divided by means of invidious, unfastened coins. Drift to me. It turned into a ginormous announcement. All of us is pronouncing it's no longer a large deal, was a percentage buyback, a huge deal. It's a monster deal. And also, this also goes to a company you cross-returned 6 months ago, out by means of 25, 26 human beings. They're $2 in income. Now it will be 5 to 6 all proper parents. Nvidia, you're watching Nvidia, it continues a kind of just about stealthy pass at this point. Now, this morning, it got a boost from Morgan Stanley, which it says it expects Blackwell production to reach 450,000 chips. You know what? Which means that is 10 billion million greenback. That is the 4th region. Obviously, it is top-notch information and precise news. For my subsequent guest, I'm going to herald Gabelli Growth Funds portfolio manager John Balan. John, welcome to the show. Thank you for having me. You have a variety of NVIDIA, right? This is considered one of your preferred ideas right now? Yeah, certainly one of our biggest positions in all of our boom finances at Cabell. The narrative over the past, the Wall Street narrative, has been the play is over, not always. We see the orders. Manifestly, the orders are mind-boggling. However, that this is form of a pinnacle is type of aspect. It can't closing for all time. The inventory is beforehand of itself. How much of that concerns you nicely? Let's just cross again to what CEO Jensen Grasp stated this week on CNBC. He said the demand for their chips proper now could be insane. It's quite sturdy phrase. Yeah, nicely. I never heard of that network. You are speaking approximately. However, I did pay attention the word insane before in a business. I had a laugh with this earlier than you were born. There has been this R retail outlet referred to as Crazy Eddie. And the man used to come back on TV, say, our costs are insane. Then they went out of commercial enterprise. It turned into a ripoff and everything. So I think a distinctive kind of insane, he's speaking approximately here. Okay, is he laying it on too thick properly? I suggest we are able to talk approximately NVIDIA. I suppose we are nonetheless early innings. And the AI, I assume AI is a generation. It is going to have very deep and long-lasting affects for decades. And NVIDIA is going to be one of the top beneficiaries of that. But I assume stepping back, I used to be looking certainly. One of your early and advanced guests communicate approximately the astonishing 7, speaking approximately being form of lengthy. inside the teeth in that rally. I assume I would sincerely shield a variety of stocks. I assume Nvidia blanketed, and perhaps let's eliminate Tesla from the communique. We are able to call it the 6%. Um, these are companies with, without a doubt, strong revenue boom, sturdy margins, nevertheless increasing margins, proper shareholder pleasant capital allocation policies in Europe. To now, I assume they've generated extra of the index's income boom. Then they have the index's performance. So I suppose the fundamentals surely do justify the stock overall performance YR up to now for those stocks. Via the way I consider you, you understand, I suppose. It is top notch. All people's saying, oh, the 493 are going to have pretty strong earnings growth at the end of the YR. And still, the MA7 will, in all likelihood, revel in higher increase at a lot higher, a much greater, complicated, and that I think you can additionally say profits expectancies. The magazine 7 have been over-delivering on expectations. The S&P 493 has simply neglected expectancies, as opposed to the start of the 12 months, which Nvidia and AMD outperforming nowadays. They are two of the pinnacle stocks inside the S&P 500 during the last past month. Both are also scheduled to keep AI events early next week. So should that be the subsequent catalyst for those names joining us? Now could be head of Melia Tech Studies. Ben writes this, Ben Glad Friday. Um, we talked to Nvidia this week. We have mentioned Nvidia plenty this week. Wherein's the possibility in chips across in Nvidia? That's already been massive. Then you obtain AMD and you acquire Intel, which hasn't been doing so properly. You are speak me about of my favorite names right there. Nvidia and AMD. Nvidia simply feels like it's wonderful. I suggest you realize congrats to you to have that remarkable interview. The opposite nighttime with him announcing the phrase insane. I like that. That form of tells you what you want to recognize. Our tests on Blackwell are superb, and everybody wishes it. That ought to pressure a few full-size sequential boom in January, and on the other hand, in April. And then we think the gross margin begins to improve quite a bit on the, again, of Blackwell after a quarter, and that'll get the inventory going again. So you realize we experienced pretty suitable there. Um, we recognize some oldsters have voiced a few worries in your network as properly. But we were seeing, you realize, absolutely accurate demand. And remember, OpenAI just launched a group of stuff. And we're now not even inferencing with that stuff, and Apple, is getting out. Apple Intelligence, which hopefully drives a number of the OpenAI. So we feel good there. And on